Good morning, everybody. I've got new glasses on, so this is kind of difficult. Okay, glad to have everybody this morning. Happy Mother's Day. So let's kind of go backwards here this morning. I know you guys are probably thinking, yeah, what's he got up his sleeve here? How many great-grandmothers do we have in the room? Oh, look at that. Wow, guys, take a look at this. Look around the room and see these ladies. You can turn the internet off because you can ask one of these gals a question and they will know the answer and it will be the truth. I mean, if you don't know how to plant a tomato, we got the lady that knows how. I mean, all the way from down to you name it. I bet there's some of these gals that knows how to darn socks and even maybe crochet doilies. Okay, how many grandmothers do we have? Oh, looky there. Yes. So the same here, that's an abundance of knowledge that you see them. But remember, these are the gals that take your children. They feed them sweets. They spoil them rotten, and they bring them home after bedtime. But you got to remember, though, these gals are protected by the fifth commandment. Honor your mother and father. Yes. All right. So, of course, my grandparents are already gone. Been gone for quite some time. Of course, my parents are gone. But I had a grandmother that, my mom's mom, she really is the one who brought me to the Lord. Been training me since I was a little bitty guy. I was quite the terror, believe me. Could you, if you would, put a picture of that terror up there? Yeah. Yeah, this is the guy your mama warned you about, believe me. I don't know what happened to Carolyn here, how she missed out on this, but Lynette ended up with that guy. Anyway, so put the other one up there if you would. Okay, these are three of my sisters and two cousins. You see who's photobombing it there, that guy. Yeah, you should have seen the picture right after that when their hair was all messed up and their glasses were all sideways and everything. That's my sister Tracy on the right in the top. And my cousin Julia, both of them are gone now. My sister Terry's the lower left, got my little sister Tina, and that's my cousin Carol Jane, that's just right underneath me. And I tell you what, we used to have a blast. And my grandmother that I was talking about, we used to run her ragged. Anyway, so how many moms do we have in here? A whole bunch. Yes. So don't worry, gals, you're going to get your turn to spoil some kids. These gals here, they're the future of greatness. They're going to get to carry on the torch that the mamas and the grandmamas and great-grandmamas taught them. It's going to be your job to be the ones that teach these young babies again, just like your mama taught them. Amen. And I tell you what, God knew what he was doing when he put this circle together, didn't he? Yes. Anyway, we've already given them a round of thanks and applause, so happy Mother's Day to all of you. A God-fearing woman's teaching is the beginning of prosperity and godliness to her children. Kids, listen up and pay attention today because your parents, your mom and your dad and your grandparents, believe me, they know what they're talking about. Of course, this is one of the reasons for the fifth commandment as well. Honor thy mother and father. It works for you in the long run, and just think, you don't have to move out at 14 while you still know everything. Okay, so let's go to Proverbs 31:1. And today we're going to name this is the Virtuous Woman. Okay, the words of King Lemuel, a pronouncement that his mother taught him. Lemuel meaning devoted to God. Okay, let me get this open here in my Bible. Okay, so who was King Lemuel? Not too many people know because he was only mentioned in this Proverbs 31 and 1 and 4 is the only places where he's mentioned in the whole Bible. Speculation exists that proposes that Lemuel should have been identified with Solomon and King Hezekiah. While others think he might have been a king of Massa, Jewish legend identifies him as Solomon taking the advice from his mother Bathsheba, but there's no clear evidence of this. So, I don't know. I kind of lean towards Hezekiah myself, but we'll, only eternity will be able to figure that one out. We will fully see the blessings of godly women have brought to this world. So, anyway, ladies and gents, I can't wait. Let's make heaven crowded. A good wife is a crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness to his bones. And that's Proverbs 12:4. Today's message is on a virtuous woman. So, starting here at 2, what should I say, my son? What son of my womb? What son of my vows? Don't spend your energy on women or your efforts on those who destroy kings. Kind of sounds like this lady is pretty wise, and I think over the years this is not something that he just wrote, after he was. Just right as he was becoming a king. I think that this was many, many years of his mother teaching him and, teaching him the things that he should and shouldn't do. And if you look in here all the way down to verse 9, she's letting him have it pretty good in his younger years. This is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine or for rulers to desire beer. Otherwise, he will drink, forget what is decreed, and pervert justice for all the oppressed. Give beer to one who is dying and wine to one whose life is bitter. Let him drink so that he can forget his poverty and remember his trouble no more. Speak up for those who have no voice, and justice of all who are disposed. Speak up, judge righteously, and defend the cause of the oppressed and needy. So, she's pretty much telling him, you need to stay away from these kind of people. You need to become a good boy and listen to your moms, guys. They're wise beyond our means. And, and our dads too. He's headed in the right direction with this teaching. Excuse me. So if we go to 10, we're talking about in 10, this is going to be Proverbs 31:10 through 12, and it's going to be her loyalty. Okay, who can find a wife of noble character? She is far more precious than jewels. Some of your Bibles are going to say rubies. The heart of her husband trusts in her and will not lack anything good. She rewards him with good, not evil, all of her days. So, noble character and trustworthiness, one word for this is priceless. You know, we're talking about a woman that is worth more than jewels, diamonds, and gold. You know, she's a priceless woman. She is virtue. Two key words here are heart and trust, or love and faith. Pretty much the same thing. Marriage is a matter of the heart. There must be true love between a husband and a wife, the kind of love that only Jesus can give us. Excuse me. What kind of love should a man show his wife? Okay, Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church. He gave himself to make her holy, cleansing her with the washing of water by the word. He did this to present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or anything like that, but holy and blameless. Guys, love your wives like this, and she will have no problem submitting herself in obedience. Love and show it. Love her and show it. So, you know, the obedience part of the wife. This is the part that is where she's obedient to her husband. She shows respect. She shows, gals, this is the greatest love that you can show your husband. He is, you know, he's not your dictator. He's not this person that's over you. He is two together as one and loving each other back and forth. It is, you know, guys, we need to make sure that our jobs and our chores don't take us away from our family time and time with the kids. A happy home doesn't just happen. It's the results of hard work, prayer, and real love. Believe me, when we trust in the Lord together, happiness and blessings follow. I know that when Lynette and I pray together, man, we are strong, we are one. But then again, we are two, and that puts 10,000 to flight. So I'll guarantee you, if you pray this way together, and you pray as a couple and a pair, I mean, you look at Kevin and Connie, this happens every day for them. This is their daily ritual, you know. We've got prayer warriors in this room that are like that, and I guarantee you we see results. We see people being healed. We see people that are having hard times, you know, come out of it. And if you're not on the prayer chain, get on it. Man, get on there and help us pray. Because you think about the prayers, the more prayers that come out, the more power that those prayers have behind them with the love of Jesus Christ in those prayers. Her workplace is 31:13 through 22. She selects wool and flax and works with willing hands. She's like a merchant ships, bringing her food from far away. She rises while it's still night and provides food for her household and portions for her female servants. She evaluates a field and buys it. She plants a vineyard with her earnings. So this woman is, man, superwoman. She's got it going on. I mean, she's realtor. She's, manufacturer. She's taking the money from the things that she does, and she's, putting it towards a vineyard, a field, a place to grow garden, a place to provide for her family and her servants. She draws on her strength and reveals her arms are strong. She seems that her profits are good, so she's good with her money. She takes care of things. The pastor and I were just talking about his youngest daughter earlier, about how she takes care of the finances at their business that they have down the Grove. She extends her hand to the spinning staff, and her hands hold the spindle. There are not very many of you that weave wool anymore, I don't think, but if you do, power to you. That's a lot of thread. Her hands reach out to the poor, and she extends her hands to the needy. She is not afraid for her household when it snows, for all in her household are doubly clothed. So she's keeping them warm. She's keeping them their bedding and everything. She makes her own bed coverings, her clothing and fine linen in purple. What's purple stand for in fine linen? It's royalty. It's wealth. She's royal in the kingdom of heaven, and obviously she's, the mother of a king. So, and she has servants in a household. So she's, they're very prosperous people. This priceless woman is a worker, rises while it's still night. Okay, this is one of those great grandma stories here. Rising up in the night to get up to make breakfast for the family. Farm moms, I know a lot of you grew up on farms and stuff, and this was a chore. So ladies, let's thank God for our brand new appliances that we have these days. And we're not washing clothes in a tub or a wringer washer. My grandmother had one of those. Her dryer was called a clothesline. I never could figure out how they dry clothes in the winter. You wash them and then they're frozen. You went to the laundromat. I don't know that my grandmother had a laundromat in her town. They had a post office and a gas station with a store in it. We thank God for wonderful modern appliances, of course, but they're still cooking and sewing and shopping, taking care of children, providing warm clothing and bedding for her family, and she takes care of all the household business, plus helping her husband in the family business, faithfully doing her share. I saw this as a kid. My mother would take care of 5 children, get us off to school. Summertime, you got on your bike and left, and you didn't come home until the street lights were coming on. And the reason why is because you didn't want to have to babysit Tina and Mitch, my younger brother and sister. Yeah, you get stuck doing that, and your day's ruined. I tell you what, I wished I had those days back to spend with them now, more than I did. But she works willingly and has no compulsion, but is compassionate and charitable. We're talking about a woman who loves her husband, children, and community. She's modest. Proverbs 31:23 through 26. Her husband is known at the city gates where he sits among the elders of the land. She makes and sells linen garments. She delivers belts to the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. Strength and honor is what she wears. That's a strong woman. And she can laugh at a time to come. Her mouth speaks wisdom, and loving instruction is on her tongue. She's a hard worker. She likes to have fun. She likes to laugh and carry on. She's a fun person to be around. She is Wonder Woman. Her husband's known at the gates among the elders. She's at home. She's respectfully at home. She's modest. But her husband's at the gates. Now, the gates, back in those days, I'm sure most of you know this, but the gates of the city is where all the men met. They all were around the gates, city gates and stuff, and all the leaders of the city and everything. It kind of like was the Murphy's coffee shop of the day, But anyway, this is where, a lot of decisions and stuff were made in the town. Her piety, Proverbs 27:31. She watches over the activities of her household and is never idle. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also praises her. Many women have done noble deeds, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting. But a woman who fears the Lord will be praised. Give her the reward of her labor and let her work praise her at the city gates. So, they talk about her at the city gates. She's somebody special in town. She has charm. You can tell she's older. Her beauty's fleeting. That happens. We get older and we change. But you know what? God doesn't look at the outer on us. He looks at our inside. This woman is beautiful on the inside. She is, something special in his eyes. Her husband also praises her. She's praised by her children. They're proud of her. She's something to be proud of. And, you don't get there in life by being, just pretty. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time, a lot of time on your knees praying for your family. Ladies, I know that everybody in this room has been on their knees and praying for their family members. Whether it's time when they're sick or whether they just need, a blessing to get through life. A woman who fears the Lord shall be praised. This is the secret of her life. She fears God and seeks to obey his word. No doubt she would arise in the early morning to meditate on the word and to pray. All day long she would pray for her husband and her family. Her true beauty is within. Though the years may change her body, her beauty is in the Lord, and only grows greater. Her praise comes from God. I do always those things that pleased him. Pleasing God, that's a big one, isn't it? How does God praise this woman? By blessing her labors in her life. The fruit of her life will praise her. She will certainly reap life everlasting because she is sown to the Spirit and not to the flesh. Galatians 6, 7, and 8 says, "Don't be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a person sows, he will reap. Because the one who sows to his flesh will reap destruction from the flesh, but the one who sows to the Spirit will reap eternal life from the Spirit. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also praises her. Is Mother's Day and Christmas and Valentine's Day the only time we're ever giving her praise? I hope not. We should show our appreciation all the time. No one gets tired of hearing appreciation. Everybody loves a pat on the back or, "Mom, man, you really did a great job." That was the best meal I think I've ever had. And how many of those meals can a guy eat? Because they're all good. Just a little bit of appreciation goes a long ways. I missed kind of in the first of this. King Hezekiah, they weren't sure. No one had ever heard of this king before. They've heard of King Hezekiah, of course, but Lemieux, no one had heard of him. He's only mentioned here. So the Jewish people kind of thought it might have been Solomon. I kind of think it might have been King Hezekiah. He's mentioned in there too. But Hezekiah ruled from roughly 781 to 686, lived to be about 55 years old. He was the 13th king. Of course, Solomon was the third, so he was 10 kings down from him. He became king at the age of 25, so he was a pretty young man. And, I can see where his mom was trying to lead him and guide him in this ways to where, he would be a good king. Because the king that was before him was not a good king. They had completely destroyed Judah. And, Hezekiah came in, and it took him, 29 years, but he got it fixed. 15 of those years, God extended his life because he was going through all this trouble and everything, fighting all these people. The time of King Hezekiah was the days of Isaiah. So he had Isaiah back in there somewhere, helping him with all of this. If you want to read about any of this, you can pretty much go to 2 Kings, and it'll be chapter 17 is where it starts. I think it goes through 17, 18, maybe some of 19. This was 81 years before Daniel. So the Babylonians were still busy at this time, They were in the middle of all of this that Hezekiah had gone through. But primarily known as one of Judah's most righteous kings, celebrated for sweeping religious reforms and abolishing idolatry, restoring temple worship, and defying the Assyrian Empire. His reign is defined by his deep faith, trust in God, and miraculous salvation of Jerusalem. This was about 81 years before Daniel, like I said, and his mother was Abijah, daughter of Zechariah. So I don't know if it was her, if it was him, but he was definitely a king in that time, and he was definitely needed guidance to get through all of this mess that he was left from the previous king. But anyway, that's pretty much, I don't even know what time it is yet. Oh, well, I'm going to get done a little bit early for you guys. I'm not on Indian time. I have a little bit of Cherokee, so we made it all the way to this time, I want to thank all of you moms. God bless you all. Thanks for taking care of us, I think, like I mentioned earlier, my darling wife, Lynette, over here, she's the power behind me. She keeps me in line. I get to be the boss when she's out of town. But anyway, thank you all so much, and I was glad I got to speak this morning, and love each and every one of you. And we'll hand it back over to Pastor Jeff.
Amen. That's a good word for moms today, isn't it? I was sitting over thinking about it, and I miss my wife a great deal. I know I joke about it all the time, and I give her a hard time, but I got to marry the homecoming queen. Kim was a homecoming queen at Chitopa whenever we met, or right after that, and I got to marry the homecoming queen, and I tell her all the time, I always feel like I'm with the prettiest girl in the room whenever Kim's with me. I said, you make me look better. And she says, no, you make yourself look better. I said, no, you make me look better, and we'll start to argue about it, how that goes. But she gave me two beautiful daughters, and my number one daughter is getting ready to have baby number two. And I was thinking about my mom. My mom, you guys have seen her. When we first were filling in, my mom was able to come a time or two. She's not able to get out anymore. My mom is about this tall, and she had the first triplets ever born at St. John's Hospital in Joplin. And my daughter was asking me about that yesterday. She goes, how did Granny D do that? And I said, well, honey, she was as big around as she was tall. But she had my brothers, Matt and Jeremy and Andy, and they were born on November the 3rd, 3 minutes apart, and there were 3 ounces difference in their weight, if I remember right. I was thinking about my grandma Buffalo. I miss both of my grandmas a great deal. My grandma Buffalo was kind of a tall woman, but you know how it was back in the day whenever you did your hair once a week and it was teased up. So she was this tall when it was right before her beauty appointment. Whenever she got the beauty appointment, she was about this tall. And the hair never moved the rest of the week. Grandma's hair was like that all the time. And my grandma Buffalo would always ask me what kind of pie I wanted for my birthday, and she would bake that for me, and it was always fantastic. And I could do no wrong because I was the oldest grandson on the Buffalo side and the second oldest grandchild. Along my mom's side of the family, I was the oldest grandchild, boy or girl, and my grandma Atterbury, that was my mom's maiden name. It was always funny because she didn't get up and cook meals for us. She would get up early and give me money to go across the street in Joplin to get donuts all the time. And my grandma Atterbury was the type, she goes, Jeff, honey, run in there and get me a Pabst Blue Ribbon out of the icebox. And I'd run in and I'd get her a Pabst Blue Ribbon because Grandma would drink a beer from time to time, and we always had Pabst in the icebox, and I'd get that for her, and she'd get me a soda or whatever it was. But those were great memories, and I know that you guys have those memories too, and cherish those today. We are very thankful for every mom and grandma and great-grandma, and some of you have been grandparents and moms to others that you didn't give birth to. That's a good thing. I know, I think Kim's mom is still going strong, same age as my dad. She's 82, and Kim's mom is a great woman of faith. Her Granny Schultz, I'll just tell one more story and we'll pray for you, but I remember Kim's Granny Schultz, and she's probably one of the best women I've ever met in my life. Had 13 kids and raised them all to love Jesus, and she loved Jesus till he took her home. But I remember when my girls were in grade school and my nieces and nephew were in grade school, we decided to go to Chetopa so Granny Schultz can show them how to kill chickens. So she explained to him, she goes, now when you kids come up for these dinners, she goes, how do you think the chicken gets in the pot? So Granny put on a clinic, and we went around, and one of them, she had me hold it out, and she chopped its head off with an axe, and she would just had this cackle and this giggle. So we go out to pick another one out, and she's walking around, and she pulls its head off, and another one, she's walking around, flipping it, steps on it, and pulls that head off. And my oldest daughter, the one that's getting ready to have baby number 2, she was absolutely mortified that we were doing that, and we were taking pictures. And my grandma Schultz, Kim's grandma, was just cackling the whole time, just having the best time. And my youngest daughter, Kinsey, who was here for Easter, she just thought it was the biggest honor in the world that Granny told her, she goes, go throw that chicken in that pot of hot water out there and pluck those feathers for me. And when Grandma cooked everything, and Emily would not eat because we had just seen those chickens alive, Kinsey was like, give me a plate. And I said, that's my girl right there. I said, you bring that in and we'll eat it. So today is a day to remember all of those things. I have been extremely blessed, and it's because of all of that faith that my mom and my grandmothers and Kim's family have poured into me that I get to be here with you today. So today is a day to remember all of that. We honor every single one of you that are moms and grandmas and great-grandmas today. We honor every single one of you. Thank you for what you have done for us.